Yo, what's up guys, it's Jack and welcome back to another video, and this is going to be quite a meaty video for information for you guys, so without further ado I'm going to get straight into the point. And yes, you are reading the title correctly. These are going to be 4 steps on how to get better at any game, and it doesn't matter if it's a single player or a multiplayer game, it's literally any game. But without further ado, let's get into the nitty-gritty details. Now, step number 1 is research. Now obviously, whatever game that you want to get better at, no matter what kind of game it is, whether it's single player, multiplayer, whatever, you're going to do research on it. You're going to look things up, and you're going to basically look at the steps on how to get better in terms of research. Now, how are you doing this? Well, there's luckily we live in this age of the internet to where there's plenty of good and reliable streamers, YouTubers, and all that kind of stuff out there. So let's say you're struggling with a first-person shooter, you're going to look things up specifically that you want to get better at, like how do I make my aim better, how do I do this, how do I do that, what is game knowledge, and all these different kinds of things. What makes a good player, all these things. And you're going to look up the popular players, you're going to watch their stream, you're going to be entertained, and all these different things. So the first thing you want to do obviously is research, and that's actually an easy part. But still, at the same time, a lot of people just get out there and they play, which is great, but they'll often miss this step, or they won't at least make it a conscious part of their mind. Like, for instance, streams. A lot of people go to streams, and they are really curious about how to get better. And the thing is that they basically don't pay enough attention to what the streamer is doing that makes them successful, because, well, one of the reasons is because you can't help it. You're just so entertained, and you're looking at it from an entertainment perspective. You're not necessarily looking at it from a learning perspective, and that's one of the most common mistakes when it comes to research, or even in YouTube videos. We love the people that we watch. We love it. They're entertaining, and it's great. But the thing is, sometimes because of that, we end up kind of missing the point when we're looking at it and we're just trying to get better. And the thing is, another thing is that watching it and just gaining the knowledge is not enough. You have to apply it. And which brings me to step number 2, technique. When learning from watching somebody, or a YouTube video, or whatever it may be, or even a friend that you have that's just really good at this game that you're just dying to get better at and you're trying to learn from them, you're going to have to learn proper technique, because playing a game a whole ton is not going to be enough to make that much of a difference to where you're going to get better. Because if that was the case, there would be a hell of a lot better players at every single game out there, a lot more better players in every single game they play. I mean, the ratio of noob to a good player would be much more different than what it is now. And the thing is, a lot of people have this tendency to believe that just time is what's going to make the difference, and that's not the case. You have to learn how to do something correctly, and you have to basically get used to it, so to speak. So learning the proper technique from research, which was step number 1, and then learning the proper technique is part of that. And this brings me to number 3, adaptation. And this is the one where most people fail at tremendously. Adaptation. Now, what is that? Well, let's say let's say in this game right here, Halo, okay? Let's say you've only been using your right thumbstick to aim all this time that you've been playing, right? And you looked up videos on how to improve your aim, and you suddenly come to the realization that all of a sudden you've been aiming wrong, and you've been doing this for a very long time, hell, maybe even for years. You are going to have to adapt and change that in order to improve it, and that is really hard. And one of the reasons it's really hard is not just because it's time consuming, but also the fact that, well, it's going to be frustrating because first of all, it feels different. It's not something that you're used to, and second of all, you're not going to see results like quickly. It's something that's going to have to take time. But part of the whole secret formula, so to speak, is that you have to do it correctly. So even if you find yourself getting your ass handed to you, even if you find something more difficult than what you thought it was, or what it looked, you need to keep going. You need to keep doing it. And this is where the next and final step comes in, and I put both of these in one because they have a lot to do with each other, and I'm going to get into the detail on that in just a second. And that is the fourth step is time and consistency, and that is all in one because, like I said before, whatever you do, it's going to take time for you to adapt and to get better. Nobody really gets that much better overnight. It comes with time and consistency. It's not just about, you know, oh, I've gotten better and I am basically going to slow down or change things up from what I'm doing now because, oh, I don't need it or I don't need to or whatnot. No, you need to stay consistent. So, and usually in the beginning, you're at your most consistent, right? Because you're really, really inspired. You just want to get better. You're willing to do whatever it takes. Well, you need to basically keep that up. And that is something else as well. It's people feel like that they reach their limit, but sometimes your limit is only limited to your imagination, because a lot of times we're saying, oh, I can't get better than I am now. Well, that's not necessarily the case. Remember, a lot of this is all muscle memory. It's not like you're doing a physical sport and then once you've passed your prime in terms of age or whatnot that you can't get better. And even then, it's said that even age, although it is a factor, it doesn't have to play as much of a factor in your results because of how you approach things mentally. So time and consistency is extremely important. So again, you're going to run into plateaus time and time again. Even when you're getting better and even when you're seeing results, you are going to run into new challenges, and you're going to have to reapply these steps here, in order for you to continue to get better. And there will be frustrations, there will be challenges, you will run into competition. But remember, one of the biggest things that you can't forget is that the biggest competition is actually yourself. Because if you're looking at all these steps here, it just involves you, and you don't try not to compare yourself to other players out there, because you're you, and the big picture is that you're trying to get better. You're not necessarily trying to beat the other person. You're trying to beat yourself, because you are your biggest obstacle. You're the one that's going to keep yourself from being as consistent as you should be, due to whether it's due to your own mental approach, or maybe sometimes you just get too frustrated and you're easily aggravated. And these are the things that you need to be focused on, instead of focusing on things like, oh, I want to be just as good as, this player or that player, whether it's a streamer that you watch, a pro player that you watch. And the thing is, consistency also has a lot to do with continuing to want to get better. Even the pros out there that play any type of game out there, they're still wanting to get better, and it's one of the reasons why they continue to put in all this time. They want to get better, even if that means just a little bit better, because the better you get, as time goes on, you improve. You don't make the big strides that you used to, because you're not a beginner anymore. You're an advanced player after a while. So basically, what ends up happening is you're going to have to work even harder to continue to get better. But that's okay, though, because that's part of the grind. That's what you have to do. That's what's going to set you apart from everybody else. So before closing this video out, I'm gonna do a quick little reiteration of everything. Step 1, research. Step 2, technique. Step 3, adaptation. And step 4, time and consistency. And you do all these things and you do them correctly. Remember step 2, technique, correctly. If you're not doing it correctly, you're never going to get better. It's simple as that. It's the cold hard truth, but it is the truth. And I've done this personally. I chose this game because it's Halo, and it's a game that I'm learning and getting better at, as opposed to COD, to where I play pubs left and right and I've gotten to a certain point to where I'm pretty damn good. But this is something that that you have to apply in order to get better at any game that you choose to get better at. And I've done this from experience. I used to suck at Call of Duty. I used to get my ass handed to me every single game. But then after I applied these things, and after I realized that I've applied them, all of a sudden I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's make a video and help the community out. So that was it. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the gameplay and the commentary. I hope you learned something out of it. So go out there and don't let yourself get in the way, and get out there and you know, become a better player. Let me know if this video helped you guys out. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, let me know. And if you didn't, let me know what I can do to make my videos better. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.